did go according to the form book. Köln gave a wonderful account of themselves and the improvements they've made. Britta Karlsson pointing out that on another occasion they might have taken a point and you could argue they deserved it. Just couldn't really convert the chances that they created, and they were plentiful. Their only goal came from a deflected cross, credited as a Sarai Linda own goal. But it was Sandra Jessen, the top goal scorer, who said the fact that Köln were bitterly disappointed with a narrow defeat to the joint record title holders in the Frauen-Bundesliga era really does show how far they've come under Britta Karlsson, and this season in particular. Jessen was one of a handful of really smart signings that brought a lot of experience to the club, along with the likes of Marina Hegering missing out through injury tonight. Britta Karlsson has them playing a nice brand of football, but given away cheaply there. Chance brewing for Essen, but a really poor first touch, costing Shari van Belt. Flach battles with Zawistovska. Köln quickly win back possession and then settle back into their rather controlling rhythm. Oh, another loose pass to Feiersinger, and Ramona Meyer goes for the early effort, but Irina Fuchs equal to it. The goalkeeping position has been a real problem one for Köln this season. Aurora Mikkelsen was brought in the second half of the previous campaign to solve the issue, and she certainly improved things, but injury struck. Lisa Schmitz was brought in from Wolfsburg, another very experienced goalkeeper at the highest level. She had a couple of calamitous performances before injury struck again for her. And it opened the door for Irina Fuchs, the young 20-year-old signed from Basel as a bit of an emergency signing given the goalkeeping crisis, but she is now the big winner between the sticks. Britta Karlsson talked about having the luxury of several options, but she is the first choice now, the young Swiss shot stopper. She's had some moments where she's shown naivety, but she's also had some game-changing ones too, and game-saving ones. And right now, Essen with a very positive start here. Maike Berendsen feeding the run of Vanessa Fürst. Forced wide, keeps it in play well. Digs out the cross, but the quality of delivery was lacking. It is a huge week in the cathedral city of Cologne, because Carnival season is coming to a close. Elaine Jacques and Essen will look to stifle any early celebrations here, but it is the city-wide street festival that sees everyone don their best and most creative costumes. Might see a few in the stands tonight. Onesies are always a popular choice at this time of year as well, it has to be said. That extra layer of warmth. It all starts on Thursday with Weiberfastnacht, and then there's a huge weekend of partying that follows. And then, with most feeling a bit hazy, there's a huge parade that travels through the city to close the show on Rosenmontag, or Rose Monday. Zawistovska teasing delivery, and there was an interesting touch on it. Wiankowska now tries to make something of it, and will settle for the throw-in that goes her side's way. Britta Karlsson continues to take this club from strength to strength. She was asked about Köln's disciplinary record, which has produced 40 yellow cards so far this season. Hold the thought, because they're looking dangerous. Lovely interchange. Jessen with a chance, and it just didn't quite sit up for her. Did well to take the ball under her spell and even get the shot off. but at an awkward height. She just got a little under it. Looked like Wiankowska was onside. And then look at that pocket of space that Jessen had. Essen cannot afford to let her find those types of positions in the penalty area, or they will, simply put, be punished. Now Stolz, a lovely play. Jessen! So close to bringing that ball down. In case you are wondering why the atmosphere is a touch muted compared to normal, and ultimately compared to what it was pre-kickoff, there is an ongoing protest amongst Frauen-Bundesliga fan groups against Monday night matches, of which this is the latest rendition. They feel that is not the way to grow the popularity of the league, simply because there are no men's matches on a Monday night. Ultimately, it's the fans that suffer somewhat. And it is deeply embedded in German footballing culture that the fans make their voices heard. And sometimes that results in silent protests like this. It'll break in the 14th minute. That was the agreed upon time slot to keep things quiet. Make no mistake though, if Köln get a goal, there will be celebrations. They might just not be as vociferous as they normally would be. And right now, after what was a bright start by Essen, Köln with one very promising chance and another positive moment in the opposition box. Let's go back to talk of the disciplinary record for Köln. Britta Karlsson said she didn't mind her side picking up yellow cards as long as they were smart and not silly. Did admit, though, that 40 is simply too many, and that they have to be a little bit more clever against the ball, and maybe even a bit more clever with their fouls to toe the line of legality a little bit better. Easier said than done. But it's part of Köln's game plan nowadays. They like to get stuck in. And they need to tonight against an Essen side who have their backs firmly against the wall at the foot of the table. That was the message from Elaine Jacques, the Essen head coach, before this game. No more talk. We need a performance. The early vertical pass picked off by Laura Vogt. Added another 2 years to her existing contract with an early extension, Laura Vogt, committing her future to the club. And why wouldn't she? She came through the academy, one of those players that you really identify. Here she is, looking to take the long throw-in with that patented top knot of hers. Kowalski with the defensive header. And the clearance, awkward. Vogt back in the mix, that's a good delivery as well, and flicked on by Jessen. Stolz was there, but not quite in the nick of time. Köln certainly do pose a lot of threat from wide areas. Jessen very proficient in the air, and she opted not to go for goal there. Instead tried to flick it on for Stolz, not far from pulling that one off, actually. What an upgrade she has proven. Everyone well aware of her qualities, the Icelandic international. No stranger to Frauen-Bundesliga circles either, having spent time with Leverkusen. Had almost 50 appearances for Köln's Rhine rivals by Leverkusen. She She only ever scored 2 goals in 46 appearances for SGS Essen. She's only ever got 5 in 53 for the Icelandic national team, and in absolutely ridiculous form for Köln this season. 9 goals in 16 games in the Frauen-Bundesliga, 11 in 18 before tonight in all competitions. Here they come again. Paula Flach with a very important defensive header. Ramona Meyer now will give chase against Selina Degen, another player who signed a contract extension this week. And this is it, Köln doing a lot to not just make the most of this season, but ultimately secure their future as well. And that's what Elaine Jacques wants to do for Essen in the Frauen-Bundesliga. It would be a great shame to lose the only all-women's team left in the top flight. They are the last bastion of a previous generation when it was all women's teams that dominated Germany's top flight. But with a rising popularity, and a handball there, I think, from Jessen, more men's teams, of course, have acquired women's teams. Köln did it. You look at the likes of Hamburg as well, and bigger clubs that have now pumped a lot more money. And for Essen, there is a real threat rising in the Ruhrpott region as well, because, of course, they've got massive neighbours in the form of Borussia Dortmund, Schalke, even Bochum as well, that are starting to really find their feet in women's football. And that regional competition will ultimately diminish Essen's pulling power when it comes to their selling point as a great developmental club, as Ramona Meyer's deflected effort is dealt with easily by Irina Fuchs. 2 rather routine saves so far for the young Köln keeper. Strong midfield play there by Adriana Achinska, just keeping it all linked together for the home side. 4 wins here at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion this season for Köln, and that's very impressive when you consider last season they only picked up 1 in the entirety of the campaign, and it came on the final day of the season against Turbine Potsdam, who had been relegated. Home form part of the key to their success, as now Volk with the first time effort sent well over the bar and out of the ground. They are a passionate fan base, though, the Köln fans. They are going to have a chance to get behind their side at the end of the season. Not here at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion, but at the much bigger Rhein-Energie-Stadion, which they have graced on a couple of occasions in recent years. Announced this week that they'll be facing Werder Bremen on the 2nd of May, I believe it is. Although, admittedly, I doubt that fixture has been set in stone yet. It might just be the weekend of the 2nd of May. As now Stolzer, freedom to work with, and gets the shot off, closed down by Ostermeier, saved by Zinderman. Well, that was a lot more promising than it proved to be in the end for Köln. Feiersinger won it well. Look how much space Stolzer had to march into. If anything, that touch there was too heavy, and it just gave Ostermeier the chance to close the gap. And now here come Essen down the other end. Oh, Gerhardt, what a vital touch from Anna Gerhardt. Prevented the ball coming through to Shari von Bell. Foul there by Debitsky, even if Zawistovska had likely given the ball away with a loose pass. 2 quick fouls in quick succession for Julia Dubitsky, who will be drawing the attention of the referee in an unwanted manner. One of the 2 changes in the Essen lineup tonight. Captain Jacqueline Meissner missing out. Free kick very long, and it asked a lot of Selina Degen. Too much in the end. Straight to Achinska, the goal kick from captain. Now more defending to do as Zawistowska takes on Flach really well on the outside. Cross repelled. Kowalski trying to run it clear when that was not the right idea, and then clips the heels of her fellow number 10. She can take exception to the tumble, but she tripped her. Those are the frustrations that are so prevalent for Essen in the current campaign. Wiankowska sends that one in. Not fully cleared. Feiersinger keeps the chance alive. Lovely delivery. Oh, that's a horror clash. Jessen. And the follow-up effort goes wide, but Zinderman really took out Sandra Maria Jessen there. Zinderman with a heavy fall, but that looked like a real punch to the head for the Icelandic striker. Full-blooded, to say the least, in that 50-50. She is Ginger. She gets to her feet. I mean, that is a massive punch to the side of the head from Kim Zinderman, who doesn't get anywhere near the ball. Wham! Oh no, sorry, I take it back. She does actually get a fist on the ball, doesn't she? It looked like it popped off the head of Jessen. But I mean, talk about taking a chunk out of your opponent. Lisa Schmitz, the Köln goalkeeper, seemed to see the funny side of it, maybe suggesting that that's exactly the type of punch he'd have gone for in that situation as well. Goalkeepers' union is a strong one after all. Jessen doesn't seem to be all too shaken up by the experience. Lovely play by Vogt, a little drop of the shoulder just to catch Maya off balance. Very engaging game so far at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion. The hosts Köln having the better of it so far, but nothing to show for it. You might have noticed as well, they're wearing their diversity kit tonight. Gerhardt, that's a lovely pass, lovely turn. Zawistowska straight at Kim Zinderman. Oh, either side, and we might have been talking about one of the goals of the weekend there from Veronika Zawistowska. In the end, the finish didn't match everything that preceded it. Sweetly struck, just straight at the keeper. For Essen, one of the priorities tonight would have been keeping it level at 0-0 for as long as possible if they couldn't fashion the opening goal themselves. Köln, a side that have had no problems racking up goal-scoring chances, as proven by their output against Wolfsburg, one of the better defences in the league, and they really came on strong in that game. total of 21 shots on goal. Köln against the She-Wolves, who only had 8 to their name, but they found 2 clinical finishes courtesy of Lilith Berenstein. And again, Köln's goal only came from a Wiankowska cross that was deflected beyond Stina Johannes. Now Kowalski. I tell you, a couple of seasons ago, her dead balls were some of the best in the business. And other teams wised up to the quality of her delivery, but the quality of delivery also diminished a touch from the Essen taliswoman. That was Natasha Kowalski. She still was last season, and another disappointing campaign. Essen finishing just above the drop zone. It was Kowalski who chipped in with 6 goals and 5 assists. But since Marcus Högner left the club, her stock has dropped a touch. Gosh, a lovely pass from Gerhardt to find Achinska. Now feeds her on a Feiersinger. There's another runner in Wiankowska. Lovely play by Köln. Wiankowska, she gets there, but it's a good bit of keeping from Kim Zinderman. Came off the line, made herself big down by the byline. And in the end, I actually assumed it was going to be a corner and that Wiankowska would play this off of Zinderman, but not the case. Goal kick. Bounce didn't make life easy for Essen, but then neither did Lena Ostermeier's clearance. Essen trying to seize upon the opportunity. Stolzer now raking past the Gerhardts, albeit forcing a momentary retreat. Now Achinska. Yeah, just like Wiankowska down the other flank. Straight out of play for a goal kick. Not what was intended, I'm sure. Walked disappointed. In fact, her touch let her down there. Britta Carlson there on the right of your screen has to be pleased with the battling qualities of her side. They cannot afford to give Essen any opportunities to build any form of confidence tonight. That's another robust challenge this time. Paulina Plattner, the top goal scorer for Essen, the holding midfielder who's scored some absolute stunners so far this season. But again, a situation that underlines Essen's problems in the current campaign. The fact that Plattner, not exactly a goal scorer supreme, is the one topping the charts with 3 goals to her name. And they're taking out Laura Vogt rather unceremoniously. If you've ever seen Adriana Achinska play, you'll know that she's eyeing up a shot from this type of position. No stranger to a long-range perler, though. Stolz in a really good position to the right if they just want to play a through ball. Flacher's covered, and now Achinska strikes. Knuckleball! Oh, Zinderman claws it out of the bottom corner. It might have been going wide anyway, but she wasn't taking any chances, and rightly so. Add that to her collection of saves that she's racking up tonight, keeping her side in it at 0-0. Bounce right in front of her. I reckon that's hitting the back of the net from Achinska. That is a marvellous save from the Essen shot stopper. Deegan with the flick on at the near post, but sends it behind for a goal kick. Just got the angles on the header. A little bit wrong there. Selina Deegan. Zawistovska probably needed to try and get a touch, but that one's brilliant to wriggle free. Oh, she looked to play it to the edge of the area where Feiersinger was waiting and just picked off Zara Agrec. Follow through there from first, caught Stolzer, but play goes on. Wasn't really a foul, even if Stolzer is feeling the after effects of the clash. I think Stolzer's still down, hence the decision there from Köln to put the ball out of play. To see here first, if anything, and it's an interesting one. I actually thought first foot might have followed through and caught her with the studs or something, but it's actually the impact of the ball just being slammed against her leg that seems to have jarred the joint. Yeah, the human body is a funny old thing, isn't it? Resilient at times and breakable at others. Sometimes breakable when you least expect it as well. Hopefully it's nothing serious for Stolzer and she will be able to continue. She's been bright down the left wing for Britta Karlsson's side. Whose performance is lacking nothing but a goal so far tonight. Otherwise pretty complete, very controlling, full of confidence as you'd expect given their form. For Essen, any point tonight would be precious, but Köln will want all three because, again, they can move within 2 points of Hoffenheim in third. And Jessen, oh, she's got past two. Ah, just can't beat three. Plattner in the nick of time, snuffing out the opportunity when Jessen was really starting to pose a threat there. Incredible ingenuity. She is the only mother on the Köln books, Sandra Maria Jessen. Mother to Ella. First purposeful play out from the back. Pass. Breaks down in the end. Same time, Köln, with all this control, they're certainly not rushing themselves into action, are they? They are doing very well to pick and choose their moments, and they have had plenty of them in this first half. But again, a bit like the Wolfsburg game, for all the promise, just need the goal to really cement it. 7 shots so far, Essen with 2. There we take a look at the statistics. Very pleasing in several departments for Köln, but now Meyer, she's made a wonderful run. Pass had to be perfect, picked off by Degen, who now looks to send it down the other end. And her pass was just a touch off stride for Annalena Stolzer. Chinska gets a foot to the ball, but Essen stay in possession. Ooh, flach. That was not the easiest pass for Kowalski to deal with, but magnificently done by Natasha Kowalski. Not the same on that occasion, and now Zawistovska. She wants her goal. Zawistovska! Tried to pick out the top corner and failed. A couple of big chances, though, for the Polish winger. Picked off the pass, drove forward, invited to have the shot. The angle was there, just didn't quite wrap her foot around the ball as much as she needed to. Another let-off for an SGS Essen side. Desperate to move back off the foot of the table at the first time of asking and respond to that victory for Karl Zeiss Jena in the capital against Union. The way things are panning out, it does almost feel like 2 of the 3 out of Essen, Jena and Hamburg will go down. Oh, Maya, I mean, picked up the perfect position, but the pass to her was nothing short of awful. She looks to blame because she couldn't control the ball, but I mean, just look at how this popped up. Fizzed in, not kind on the Essen striker there, the ball into feet. But the point I was making, Essen, Jena, Hamburg. Right now, Jena are on 9, Essen on 10, Hamburg on 10. Just above them, Nuremberg, Leipzig, Union Berlin are doing just enough to keep their heads above water and prevent themselves really getting into the thick of the relegation battle. But all it takes is a couple of negative results for them and a few positive ones strung together for any of the bottom 3, and the complexion can change dramatically. You can make an argument that Elaine Jacques might be the happier of the 2 head coaches, given the dynamic and dangerous nature of Köln's front line. The fact that they've limited them to shots from range or half chances at best will be very pleasing. The lack of attacking output from her side will be concerning, as Laura Vogt has gone down in an absolute heap, clutching her ankle, which is never a good sign. She is, oh, I say that. Ah, look at it. Almost a remarkable recovery. Still Ginger on it, but she takes a touch of the ball, suggesting that she'll be all right. Didn't exactly pull out of that situation, did she, Lara Vogt? Isn't it remarkable how footballers heal faster than the normal humans sometimes? And all it takes is them looking up, seeing that the ball's still in play and that there's a promising situation brewing for their team. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yes, my ankle, oh. Never felt it, never noticed. Don't know what you're on about. Fit as a fiddle. Awkward bobble there right in front of Zinderman, and that'll spin straight behind for a corner. To be honest, I'd have gone and stamped down the ground where that happened. If I were Kim Zinderman, I wouldn't exactly have just accepted my fate for a second time. Nothing really Dubitsky could do differently about it. It wasn't the wrong idea to involve her goalkeeper, but now it would be cruel and it would not be uncommon in the world of football for this corner now to be turned home. Change of angle to Vogt. Floats it in deep. Achinska's header's down, but well off target. by Achinska. Walked onto it in a flash. Kowalski, lovely little turn of pace, and actually got a big tug from Achinska. Achinska got clipped in the aftermath as well, but Kowalski says, well, if you didn't pull my shirt, my hand wouldn't have hit you. Yeah, little slap for good measure from Natasha Kowalski. Has given Achinska a little bit of a bloody nose, though. Maybe a tear brought to the eye as well. Vogt looks for the run of Jessen. She's got beyond Ostermeier momentarily. Essen's captain recovers. Jessen, lovely play, looking for Stolzer, picked off by Gerhardt booked there for bundling over Ramona Meyer when Essen were trying to build forward after the fight and interception at the back from Leni Mia Becker, the young centre-back. She got a proper bloody nose, didn't she, Adriana Achinska? Confirmation there of Anna Gerhardt's second yellow card of the season, and the 41st for Köln combined. Bounces all the way through to Irina Fuchs. Gerhardt. First pass doesn't come off, second does. Flach scampers back into position as Savistovska finds Vogt. Vogt certainly didn't make life easy with that pass to Stolzer. Gerhardt finds Savistovska. Able to turn again, Savistovska tripped. And a free kick in a very promising position here for the home side as Adriana Achinska, bloody nose and all, is back out on the pitch. Got to think Achinska will be probably first in line to take this free kick as well. Type of foul that's just very unnecessary, and all it does is produce unwanted pressure. As you can see there, Paula Flach, yeah, I was going to say, booked for kicking the ball away in her frustrations. Good delivery. Still dangerous. Now poked clear. Köln will try and keep themselves on the front foot here. Wacker. perplexed as to how Bharatvarsh was trying to advance the throw in, and of course Flach did just pick up that bookie, so the last thing she wants to do is catch the eye of the referee again, and wow, that's another foul on Zawistovska, but not given. Cool heads will go a long way for SGS Essen in their current circumstances. Now it's Becker's turn. Right now, as we approach half-time, Caroline Wacker just needs to keep a lid on things. What happened here? I mean, talk about Ostermeier making a meal of it. Jessen was a little bit apologetic, admitting the fact that there was contact. But again, and two players are jostling for position, that can happen. I'm not sure Ostermeier would be too pleased if an attacking opponent went down that easily with a touch from her. But of course, when the roles are reversed, she's not happy. Oh, Jessen battling away now against Ostermeier, but again, Ostermeier comes out on top. She's just about edging that head-to-head. Zawistovska picks up a loose ball, takes on Becker. Good foot race this between the two, and Zawistovska wins it. Cross turns into more of a shot, and Zinderman has to act. What might be the final act of this first half? Indeed, it is. Well, engaging so far. Neither side pulling any punches. Köln a little bloodied and bruised at the end of a physical first half. They were the side with more control, but they've got no goals to show for it so far. Essen know 1 point would be enough to move them out of the bottom two. In their situation, every point is precious. They'll be happy to hold on for a goalless draw. Köln are eyeing more. At the break, it's Köln 0, Essen 0.
Gemeinschaft zu schaffen. Aber immer noch haben nicht alle die gleichen Chancen. Es gibt aber viele Projekte, die dafür sorgen, dass das anders ist und anders wird, dass jeder die Chance hat, den Sport so auszuüben und gefördert zu werden, wie es für ihn das Leben wichtig ist. Vor allem mit Blick auf den Mädchenfußball sieht man auch in Deutschland, ist die gleichberechtigte Teilhabe vor allem für Mädchen und vor allem für diejenigen aus sozial benachteiligten Verhältnissen noch nicht immer gleichmäßig gegeben und keine Selbstverständlichkeit. Jetzt haben wir ein wunderschönes Projekt, unter anderem mit unserer Erziehungsstiftung und der SK-Stiftung Jugend und Medien. Die Football-Girls, wir haben sie in der vergangenen Saison jetzt hätte ich fast Saison gesagt, das haben wir auch schon gesehen, sehr schön. In der vergangenen Saison haben wir sie auch schon mal vorgestellt und auch heute haben wir sie hier. Wir haben einige Einlaufkinder heute von den Football-Girls da gehabt. Wir haben Ballkinder heute und auch einige auf den Rängen. Also an dieser Stelle hallo an euch, hallo, und das ist schon mal euer Applaus. Vor allem begrüße ich aber auch heute Anna Himmelberg, Projektleiterin der SK-Stiftung Jugend und Medien und unter anderem auch unsere Spielerin Dora Zeller und zwei Football-Girls, Emilia und Eileen. Ihr vier kommt gerne einmal zu mir. Ich stelle mich mal zu euch in die Mitte, genau, ja, so kann das ja nicht machen. Anna, ich frage vielleicht als erstes mal dich, du musst ein bisschen aufpassen mit dem Rasensprecher, ich glaube, es geht aber so. Liebe Anna, du leitest das Projekt. Jetzt mal die ganz große Frage vorab, wofür seid ihr denn da? Was ist so euer Hauptkern? Was ist eure Hauptkernthematik?
Ja, wie du gerade schon gesagt hast, sind wir leider als Frauen im Sport, vor allem im Fußball, aber auch allgemein in der Gesellschaft immer noch unterrepräsentiert. Und mit den Football Girls wollen wir eine Möglichkeit schaffen für Mädels, in dem Alter Fußball zu spielen, zusammenzukommen, sich weiterzuentwickeln, die Mädels ermutigen. Und das ist erstmal unsere Hauptidee. Und genau, wir sind jetzt im zweiten Jahr hier in Köln und Bonn unterwegs. Und ja, wollen uns das jetzt noch hier sein.
Auch ist es vielleicht auch im Vergleich zu den Jungs gerade bei Mädels so wichtig, die Mädels früh vom Fußball zu begeistern?
Also der Sport, der verbindet, der entwickelt weiter, ermutigt, wie ich gerade schon gesagt habe. Und da ist es für die allgemeine Entwicklung auch für die Mädels total wichtig. Klar, auf der einen Seite fußballerisch, weil es in eine professionellere Ebene gehen soll, aber auch persönlich. Also die Mädels lernen total viel, nicht nur auf dem Platz, sondern auch neben dem Platz. Und das vor allem unsere Methode für das Projekt.
Jetzt hattet ihr das Ganze, wie du schon sagst, im zweiten Jahr. Es wird trotzdem noch ein Wunsch für die Zukunft, wo soll sich das Ganze hin entwickeln? Du hast jetzt mal einfach einen Wunsch frei. Was ist es?
Ja, natürlich würden wir wünschen, dass noch mehr Mädels die Möglichkeit bekommen, Fußball zu spielen, wann und wo sie wollen. Wir haben jetzt im ersten Jahr erlebt, dass Mädels gesagt haben, wir haben so Lust, nach dem ganzen Jahr weiterzukicken, keinen Verein gefunden haben, was total schade ist, weil da Talent da war, weil da Motivation da war. Und da würde ich mir wünschen, dass jedes Mädchen, was möchte, kann. Und genau, das ist unser Hauptziel. Wir wollen verschiedene Punkte dazu bringen, dass wir die Mädels, dass wir denen Möglichkeiten schaffen, Fußball zu spielen.
Und das schafft ihr tagtäglich. Zwei der Mädels, die bei euch spielen, habe ich hier. Ich habe euch gerade schon vorgestellt. Emilia und Eileen. Jetzt muss ich mal fragen, du bist Emilia, richtig? Und du, Eileen, sind nämlich Zwillinge. Ganz fies, wenn du das hier anmoderieren musst. Haben wir beiden. Ich frage euch mal ganz kurz, seit wann seid ihr beide dabei? Wie schon länger bei den Football Girls?
Ja, seit Anfang.
Und ihr seid in der Medienklasse? Also knapp ein Dreivierteljahr, würde ich sagen. Ein halbes Dreivierteljahr seid ihr schon dabei. Was war bisher dein schönstes Erlebnis bei den Football Girls?
Fußball zu spielen.
Wie oft spielt ihr Fußball?
Einmal pro Woche. Immer mit noch 2 Stunden.
Also immer mit noch 2 Stunden und ihr seid schon eine ganze Weile dabei. Ich frage euch mal, habt ihr im Frauenfußball ein Vorbild vielleicht? Dora Zeller zum Beispiel, die könnte euer Vorbild sein. Machen wir das doch mal so. Liebe Dora, du bist da und du kennst das Projekt sehr gut. Du bist selbst Profischülerin. Du hast den Absprung geschafft, was dort keine Selbstverständlichkeit ist. Was hast du zuvor es wichtig für die Mädels, Vorbilder zu haben?
Ich glaube, es ist sehr, sehr wichtig. Damals, als ich angefangen habe, ich spiele schon etwas länger als die beiden, hatte ich noch im Frauenfußball nicht so viele Vorbilder, weil irgendwie wusste ich gar nicht, dass es Frauenfußball gibt. Und heutzutage ist es anders. Es freut mich sehr, dass es in die richtige Richtung geht. Und ich weiß aber, es ist wichtig, Vorbilder zu haben, weil ich hatte auch von dem Männerfußball. Ich freue mich, dass es jetzt immer mehr Mädchen sind, die auch die Frauen als Vorbild sehen.
Wie bist du selbst zum Fußball gekommen?
Ich habe damals in der Schule mit den Jungs gespielt und dann einmal haben sie mich gefragt, ob ich mit zum Training möchte. Irgendwie fanden sie das schon richtig cool, dass ein Mädchen auch so Fußball spielen kann. Und ja, so bin ich im Fußball gelandet.
Und lass mich raten, keiner von denen ist Profi geworden, oder du?
Genau.
Liebe Nora, wie siehst du die Entwicklung bei uns in Deutschland oder generell im Frauenfußball vor allem die letzten Jahre? Wie entwickelt sich das vor allem vielleicht auch im Vergleich zu anderen Ländern? Da sind wir doch ganz gut dabei in Deutschland.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Also Deutschland ist schon immer ein Spitzenreiter gewesen im Frauenfußball. Deswegen war damals auch mein Traum, in Deutschland zu spielen. Die Entwicklung geht auf jeden Fall in die richtige Richtung. Die Interesse ist riesig geworden im Frauenfußball. Das sieht man in den Medien, dass so viele Zuschauer zum Spielen kommen. Also ich freue mich auf die Zukunft.
Also die Mädels spielen jeden Mittwoch 2 Stunden, wie wir gehört haben. Was möchtest du oder was darfst du jetzt vielleicht den Mädels mit auf den Weg geben? Hier steht Zahl, vielleicht stehe ich in, was weiß ich, 10, 15 Jahren mit euch gemeinsam hier und interview euch in der roten Jacke. Das wäre sehr wünschenswert. Was sagst du? Was ist das Geheimnis? Was kannst du den Mädels mitgeben? Als Profi.
Ja, also man kann auf jeden Fall groß träumen. Man muss auf jeden Fall dafür hart arbeiten, jeden Tag fleißig an sich selbst arbeiten. Aber ich hatte damals auch den Traum, in Deutschland zu spielen, Profi zu werden. Und es lohnt sich auf jeden Fall. Ja, wie gesagt, man muss dafür sehr viel tun, aber es macht auch riesig Spaß, deswegen lohnt es sich auf jeden Fall.
Du hast es nicht nur als Profi nach Deutschland geschafft, sondern auch die ganz, ganz große Bühne ins Rhein-Energiestadion. Du warst letztes Jahr schon vor über 35.000 Menschen mit dabei bei unserem Highlight-Spiel des SGS Köln. Wie war das für dich? Was ist das für ein Gefühl? Also du hast gerade von Großträumen geredet. Also man will es ja geht ja eigentlich haben. Außer ausverkaufen, aber das machen wir dieses Jahr. Das ist dann eure Aufgabe.
Ja, das wäre auf jeden Fall sehr schön. Ja, es ist immer etwas Besonderes. Ich bin sehr dankbar, dass ich das schon zweimal miterleben durfte. Ich hatte einfach Gänsehaut, wenn die FC-Hymne läuft und so viele Leute mitsingen. Das ist immer etwas Besonderes. Ich hoffe, dass ich dieses Jahr wieder dabei sein kann. Und ja, vielleicht kriegen wir die Bude auch voll. Das wäre auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr schön.
Und was jetzt noch schön wäre, 3 Punkte heute. Was gibst du der Mannschaft mit auf den Weg? Was erhoffst du dir für die kommende Halbzeit?
Ja, wir haben es ganz ordentlich gemacht. Wir hatten auch ein paar gute Chancen. Wir müssen so weitermachen, wie die Klasse funktioniert. Also ja, die Chancen reinmachen und dann halten wir die 3 Punkte zu Hause.
Das ist ein Wort. Das ist euer Applaus. Euch beiden vielen lieben Dank. Dir vielen lieben Dank, Anna, und natürlich dir, Nora, weiterhin gute Besserung und wir hoffen aufs Rhein-Energiestadion wirklich auf dem Rahmen.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the Franz-Kremer-Stadion in the cathedral city of Cologne, as it's known. The home side in fine form this season, enjoying a record-breaking campaign, and tonight, closing out Matchday 17, they're hoping to spark the early party ahead of a big week in carnival season. At the break, goalless. And you can see here Elaine Jacques responding at half-time with 2 changes. Leonie Kopp and the winter signing, Maria Olsen, are both coming off the bench for the second half. Wait for confirmation as to who they've come on for. Nevertheless, a sign that Elaine Jacques is not afraid of rolling the dice to try and turn the tides in her side's favour. They did have a couple of half chances in the first half, but most of the first period dominated by the home side. They racked up the goal-scoring opportunities without actually getting a goal. It was the only thing missing from an otherwise complete first half for Britta Carlson and company. But at 0-0, nothing's won, nothing's lost for either side. First goal tonight might be enough for all 3 points. And a reminder, 3 points for Köln would move them within 2 points of third-placed Hoffenheim, albeit there would be some teams in and around them that would have a game in hand. Essen, meanwhile, a point would be enough to move them out of the bottom 2, that they prefer to do it with a victory. It would only be their goal difference that would move them above Hamburg, level on 10 points if they do hold on to a share of the spoils here. Right now, Jessen and Stolz are combining, 2 of the stars of the first half for Köln. Lovely cross. Zawistovska, well, didn't fancy her chances of trying to head on target, was looking for a knock back to no one in the end. Confirmation there that Shari van Bell and Maaike Berendsen were the 2 players that have made way. Zawistovska had a couple of sights of goal herself in the first half. One firmly struck, but straight at Zinderman. This time looking to turn provider. Gerhardt went diving in, but this is brilliant play by Leonie Kopp. Such a talented young player. Not the first to come through the Essen ranks, just one of the latest. Vogt did well to sense the pressure from Meyer, but then gave the ball away cheaply. Battles back to keep her side on the front foot, but it's short-lived in the end. Essen certainly getting touch tight with their Köln counterparts, trying to limit time and space on the ball and picking their moments to press as well without overexposing themselves. And again, given the context of their campaign, a point tonight would not be a bad result. It would be the first under new head coach Elaine Jacques after back-to-back defeats to Hamburg and Union Berlin, 2 promoted teams, 2 of the teams that you really looked at and thought, well, those are the games that Essen have to be winning, and had they won those 2, it would have been a very different story coming into tonight. They certainly would not have been rock bottom. Sure, Jessen can really have any complaints there about the decision to penalise her for the contact with Julia Debitsky. Vogt off balance, Feisinger recovers well. Stolzer spotted the space, but shut down by Vanessa Fürst. Feiersinger, flick on from Jessen, didn't really get a lot of purchase. Stolzer. 50-50 goes Köln's way with the throw-in. Biankowska, Vogt. Corner for Köln. Lots of communication going on. Now plenty of movement from those in red and white, but again, it's another corner that really the delivery is so disappointing. It's gone straight out of play for a goal kick. I mean, that is just criminal. Game at 0-0, and again, it's not the first from Vogt, where Selina Degen has done everything she can to try and rescue it at the front post, but she's basically been given an impossible task by the lack of quality on the cross. Now the high press from Köln. That's a loose pass. Stolzer onto it in a flash. Feiersinger facing the wrong direction. Biankowska, they're lining up in the middle, waiting for the cross. Jessen's touch through the legs of Ostermeier, but not to a teammate. Oh, dear me, Olsen puts the pressure right back on her team. Zawistovska. Another corner conceded by the visitors. But that, again, was a moment where they almost proved the makers of their own downfall, and that is what they have to avoid. You cannot let individual mistakes creep in on a night like tonight, when 3 points can go such a long way and a defeat can be incredibly demoralizing. Shout out to Johnny Walsh. Might be February and he's still in his shorts. One of the Köln cameramen tonight. Or Stolzer. Incredible little bit of juggling there. Achinska now tries to turn the corner. Battle of the number 9s. Meyer with a trip, and a foul goes Achinska's way. Again, Meyer can have absolutely no complaints about that one. Fired in low, through all the bodies. Oh, a handball in the mix, but the handball goes against Köln. Eagle-eyed vision there from Caroline Wacker if she spotted something. I mean, this popped up. That's not a handball if she's penalised. Yes, and her arms are literally glued to her body. I mean, I was going to say it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. In a melee like that, it can pop off any body part. Meyer is chasing a lot of lost causes, which she doesn't refrain from doing in that lone striker role for SGS Essen, but it's a rather merciless job tonight. And Vogt, oh, what a pass that almost was. If anything, the touch took it away from Jessen. Every now and again, those vertical passes have proven really promising for the hosts. Biankowska, Agrec, Vogt, picking their passes well here. Gerhardt to Achinska. So much to like about Köln's style of play now, and Stolze! Oh! Where was the leap? Oh, she needed a jump with conviction. In the end, she almost seemed to pull out of it. She seemed to give up on the aerial effort, and if anything, that seemed to catch Sinderman by surprise as well. Caught me by surprise. She was right where she needed to be, Annalena Stolze. But look, she does jump, but it's almost like she's given up on the header before she even tries. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. But that's the conviction needed in this game for either side to get the goal. Can't be shying away in moments like that. Stolze. Feiersinger flicks to Jessen. 2 outside. Viankowska. First time cross. Jessen, it might fall for her. Jessen blocks. Wind knocked out, and Viankowska almost tries to knock the wind out of Essen as a whole with a wonderful effort, but it's Ostermeier. Took a ball to the gut. With a solar plexus, and again, Sandra Jessen was rather apologetic in the aftermath. Had to get the shot off first time though, but yes, Ostermeier put herself in harm's way. Oh, 2 taken out. Ostermeier again is the Essen player prone on the pitch. Achinska was down, but only momentarily. I tell you what, neither side are pulling out of the challenges tonight. This might not actually be the relegation 6-pointer it could have been and was predicted by many it would be at the start of the season, because Köln have really risen above that. But I tell you what, there are hallmark elements of tonight's performances from both teams that are a hark to a relegation 6-pointer, and full-blooded challenges like that that are all a bit clumsy and not very clean are part of that. It'll take more than that to take Ostermeier out of this game, though, given the importance of it and given the opportunity at hand for her side. Britta Karlsson, the Köln head coach, made a point that she really wants her side to keep looking up and not down, and that really has been the remarkable shift in mindset for this side, because when she took over they were primed for relegation, and in a season where maybe 2 went down, they might have been in more trouble in the previous campaign, but of course due to the expansion to 14 teams in the Frauen-Bundesliga, there was only 1 team relegated last season, and that was Turbine Potsdam, who went down with a real whimper. Just about avoided going down without a single point to their name. And the relegation battle a lot fiercer in the current campaign. Essen did not want to be in the thick of things, and they are. That's a lovely ball from Kowalski. Olsen will give chase and should get there. Now needs support, Olsen. Too easy for Viankowska. First change of the game for Köln, as Annalena Stolze comes off to be replaced by former former Germany international, Pauline Bremer. Had a couple of highlight moments already in what is her first season. She was another one of those players brought in by Köln to add some much-needed experience to their side. Köln really need a player to step up and take this game by the scruff of the neck, and Bremer might be exactly the type of player capable of doing that. Bremer, a player who came through the Turbine Potsdam Academy, then moved to the Champions League record title holders, Olympique Lyon. Spent a couple of years on the books with Manchester City in England, then some successful ones with Wolfsburg. Moved to Brighton and Hove Albion, took her back to England before a return to Germany with Köln this summer. Jessen, nice cross, but ultimately Köln want her on the end of them. That's a nice outlet pass, and Kupp is herring forward now. If anything, heavy touch, just let Vork get back in. Again, a real healthy grip on the game in this second half for Köln. And when they do produce a poor pass like that from Anna Gerhardt, there is a teammate like Achinska on hand, ready to win it back quickly. And Essen just aren't getting a foothold. At the same time, they'll be the happier team at 0-0. The onus is on Köln to make something happen, and here's Pauline Bremer. Cross teased in, but plucked out of the air by Zinderman. She's been really sharp tonight, Kim Zinderman. Deserves the credit. Hasn't had the easiest of seasons. Essen conceding goals at a rather alarming rate. Only Nuremberg and Hamburg with worse defensive records than Essen's. Their goal-scoring form also cause for concern because they are the lowest scoring team in the league after Karl-Zeiss Jena scored twice in the capital against Union Berlin yesterday. Big winners of the weekend so far are Hoffenheim, who have moved up into third place. Right now with a point, Köln would be locked in 8th. They can add to the point with another 2. They would move within 2 points of Hoffenheim, albeit with a game extra played, because due to the postponements that have taken place, Hoffenheim with a game in hand, Bremen with a game in hand, Frankfurt with a game in hand, Bayern have got a game in hand at the top of the table, not that they needed, and then Karl-Zeiss Jena, interestingly, have 2 in hand right now. That free kick comes to nothing for Köln. The difficulty for Jena is that those 2 games in hand are against the top 2 of Bayern and Wolfsburg. One of those games set to be played on Wednesday against the league leaders Bayern. So they're not exactly expected to pick any points up in those games, though lest we forget they did take points off of Bayern in Munich earlier this season. And Jena are the only team to take points off the league leaders and 3-time defending champions. If it stays that way to the end of the season and they get relegated, it really will be cruel from the football gods. But here comes Jessen, looking to curl one home, and Zinderman saw it the whole way. It didn't have the pace or precision to truly trouble her. But given the slim pickings in front of goal in the second half, you can understand why Jessen chanced her arm. I'm not mistaken, that might actually be Irina Fuchs's first touch of a ball at this second half. She certainly hasn't had any saves to make. Those half-time changes didn't exactly find another gear for Essen. Bremer now backing down to Bitsky, who tries to turn her talents to rugby tackling. I think the foul will be brought back for the Dubitsky challenge, which it is, as she's shown a yellow card. No complaints from the veteran. She's got a good old elbow to the chin there from Bremer in the mix too. And then first went flying in. Crosses behind everyone. They try and make something of it though, Köln. Oh, no one takes command of the situation in the Essen back line, and as a result, Vienkowska has a chance to keep Köln pushing forward. Vogt, awkward height for Bremer, couldn't control it. Oh, Cup then decides to let it bounce in a area of the pitch that is certainly not wise. Round the corner for Zawistovska. Oh, lovely shoulder to shoulder. Textbook stuff from First and Zawistovska. Unfortunately, First then sends her pass straight out of play. And that, again, lack of confidence, lack of precision, lack of execution of the game plan from Essen. Feiersinger. Just a sea of light blue shirts between Köln and the goal. First with a head to the ball. Meyer gives chase to no avail. Feiersinger, pocket of space in behind, picks her cross! Bremer. Initial effort blocked. Essen's back line convinced she was offside. Yes, and now. Vogt just makes her presence felt there on Ramona Meyer. Now Degen, wow, that would have been a real bolt from the blue if she had scored from a position like that, Selina Degen. Well, it really does look like there's only one team likely to score. It is the home team in red and white. Rather the same old story from the Wolfsburg game, where they created all the chances, they just couldn't find the finish. Maybe now. Two in the middle, wait. It goes deep. Bremer's there, but first to it. No chances taken, and rightly so in that situation. Has been a very intense game of football. Lots of players having to dig deep. Alain Jacques talked about Essen having to push to their limits. Oh, that's not dealt with. Oh, hint of a handball there. All happened in a bit of a flash of an eye. So we'll reserve judgment for now as Feiersinger gets the throw from Vogt. Played back to her, and look, she's got all the time and space to pick her cross and sends it straight into the gloves of Kim Zinderman. Disappointing from Laura Vogt. Not the first time we've said that about a Köln ball into the box. Wants to give chase, and again it's admirable, but a lost cause. Getting another change now for the home side. Laura Feiersinger being brought off. Vanessa Leimenstoll coming on, one of the players that has signed a contract extension with the club at the start of this new year. Might not be a first-team regular, Vanessa Leimenstoll, but she's a very important role player, having been signed from Hoffenheim at the start of last season. It's interesting to see what the social media departments of these clubs come up with when it comes to announcing contract extensions. And well, Vanessa Leimenstoll, if you go to the Köln Frauen Instagram account, there's a tutorial of how to make an Americano from the coffee connoisseur that is Vanessa Leimenstoll. Those piercing passes just haven't found their mark tonight for Köln. I get the impression that one of the cameramen might keep mistaking the fourth official for Elaine Jacques. Right now, Bremer, no one really closing it down. Lovely ball, but well picked off, intercepted at the vital moment, and now Olsen can't play the ball beyond her marker. Plattner just waited on the ball a touch too long, but got away with it. Just under 20 minutes of normal time remaining at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion, where we're just wondering whether we're going to get a goal tonight. Relatively high-scoring weekend in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Bayern winning 4-1 against Freiburg on Friday night. We had the game between Werder Bremen and Wolfsburg postponed due to an unplayable pitch. Not the first time that's happened in the new year in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Frankfurt with a big 1-0 win against Leverkusen to keep their top three hopes alive. Leipzig then, big winners at the Volksparkstadion against Hamburg. Of course, the Karl Zeiss Jena victory against Union Berlin that sent shockwaves through the relegation battle. Meanwhile, Hoffenheim's 3-0 win against Nuremberg, putting them in pole position to finish third. We've still got a long way to go in this season, and that was the message from Elaine Jacques, the new Essen head coach, ultimately, that a long road like the one that they are on to the end of the season will have its twists and turns along the way, as any road does. It's really about how her side navigate it. Right now, Köln being invited forward. Essen seem to be dropping deeper with every passing moment. Köln seem to be advancing their lines, but again, it's so compact between the lines that the home side aren't really getting the purchase they're looking for. And now Fuchs off her line, and well, I think that's Essen's first shot of the second half, courtesy of Maria Olsen. They only had 2 in the first half. That is now number 3, and probably not a bad idea, because Fuchs does love to stay off her line. She was well off her line. She's scampering back, and if Olsen gets that right, that could have been problematic for the young shot stopper. But that is just proof of how limited Essen's attacking output has been in this second half. And now Bremer, close to picking out Jessen. Vogt, first time on the volley, but always rising. Just looking for that dipping effect, and it just never dipped. Like a bad attempt at fondue. we going to get a game-changing moment? Köln are doing everything they can to try and produce it. Zawistowska has Flach for company. And Becker as well. Good cross. Oh, Bremer. Almost on the end of the knockback from Jessen. Wiankowska with the high press. Given straight to Degen on the clearance. Vogt wants movement from Wiankowska and did not get it. Look at the match statistics and they tell the same dominant story we saw in the first half, but what we do notice is that the numbers have gotten worse for Essen, and then the shot numbers haven't exactly improved either. As mentioned, that effort from Olsen just a few moments ago, trying to catch Fuchs off her line, was their first shot of the second half. It's otherwise been all Köln who come forward with Leimenstrahl to Zawistowska. That was nice, neat, but again Zinderman is equal to the effort at the end of it. Handful of chances tonight for Veronika Zawistowska to get her goal. She had a couple against Wolfsburg as well, but there continues to be a bit of a lack of conviction in those final moments in front of goal. A lot of pressure on Ostermeier and Bremer. First with the loose ball. Jessen keeps the chance alive out wide. Looking to turn provider now, the top goal scorer. Leimenstrahl. Nice idea to take it down and then strike on the volley, but again, off target as Ostermeier. And what has been a very bruising evening for not just her, but Essen as a whole, but I think Ostermeier in particular. Julia Dubitsky. Being replaced for the final just under quarter of an hour by Julie ter Linden. Blow to the head here for Ostermeier as well, seems to have added to the cause for concern. Here we can just see the tangle again. It was a bit of a heavy fall from Ostermeier, but then, oh dear me, wow. Oh, calamity of errors. Poor old Ostermeier. She gets taken out by her teammate Paula Flach, and then it was Bremer after the aftermath of her shot clattered into her as well. These are the hard knocks that you have to take at the foot of the table. Lena Ostermeier knows all about them as an Essen player. 21 consecutive seasons in the Frauen-Bundesliga for SGS Essen. Could this be the year, the season, that run comes to an end? Could we be saying goodbye to the only all-women's team left in the top flight of German women's football? It really would be the end of an era for a team like that not to be represented. Of course, there is a hope that there would be a replacement because SC Sand are in a promising position for promotion in the second tier. Joint top of the table with Stuttgart, another one of those big traditional German powerhouses whose men's team have now linked up with a women's team and they want their place at the top table. Meppen and Mainz, Andernach are still in the mix as well. The difficulty for Essen is that the consensus is that if they go down, the odds of them ever coming back up are slim to none. because they'll lose their position as the top-tier side in the Ruhrpott region. And then all of a sudden, if they're in the second tier, the likes of Borussia Dortmund, Schalke, Bochum become all the more attractive as potential clubs to sign for compared to Essen. And at that point, Essen really, despite their incredible history, tradition, reputation in women's football, it just might not be enough against those big names. I mean, Dortmund in particular. There's a chance that Dortmund might have Alex Popp on their books if they and she have their way. Ten minutes to go. Köln are playing for a win, Essen are playing for a draw. But I wouldn't say no to a chance to break forward, and that was it. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. They're going to have to be incredibly patient and maybe run the risk of conceding. Maybe have to ride their luck a touch at the back, but if they keep a couple cherry pickers up front, you never know. Stranger things have happened. Not just in the Frauen-Bundesliga, but this weekend. Here is Leonie Cup, a rare chance to break forward for the women in light blue, and Cup goes it alone. Not a bad strike. It stayed true, but was never hitting the target. Where's that been earlier in this game from Helene Jacques' side? Leonie Cup is a very talented young player, 18 years old, signed from Gladbach at the start of last season, wanted to come to Essen because it's a club renowned for giving young players a chance. 1 goal to a name in a 2-0 win against Nuremberg. Precious win for Essen. Now that you look back on it. Olsen, the latest into the book. Signed from the Austrian league leaders, Austria Wien or Austria Vienna. Talked about it being a stressful few days, given how quickly everything moved at the end of the transfer window. But ultimately that she hopes to help the team as soon as possible. And the onus really is on Köln to win this game. Vogt tries to inject a bit of pace. Hint of a handball, definitely will be a goal kick, despite Zawistovska's best efforts to con the officials there. If I go put it down by the corner flag, maybe they'll give me a corner. Nice thought. A look at the upcoming games for Köln. A couple of big highlights in there. The Rhine derby against Leverkusen next up, and then home games against Bayern and Frankfurt on the horizon as well. Not to mention 2 games against the newly promoted duo of Union Berlin and Nuremberg. For Essen, things do not get any easier anytime soon. A look at those 5 fixtures, and Leipzig is the only really winnable one for the ladies in violet. Otherwise, facing plenty of teams in the top 5 of the Frauen-Bundesliga. Which ultimately means that the point tonight, if they can hold on to it, really would be, and I hate to keep using the term because it is very cliched, but precious. All the initiative being produced by the women in red and white. Agret, nice idea to try and pick out Wiankowska. More substitutions in the offing. Sylvia Matashik is going on for Martina Wiankowska. You can see that Britta Karlsson, she's not content with a 0-0 draw. She knows her side have been the better team and more deserving of all 3 points. She felt they were deserving of a point in the 2-1 loss to Wolfsburg. She'll be a lot more aggrieved about missed opportunities tonight, though. Oh, yes, and just didn't need to rush. There were runners arriving, but she didn't wait for the support. That's a better header to Bremer. Oh, Zawistovska, excuse me. Still scrapping away. Anna Gerhardt to Vogt. Oh, she was lining up the shot, but the pocket picked by Meyer. Can hear lots of calls for calm coming from the sidelines. Ruhe is what we're hearing. That is easier said than done in these circumstances for these 2 sets of players. Chinska's bloody nose has started bleeding again, picked up at the end of the first half after a blow to the face from Natasha Kowalski. Bit of extra padding for the second half that's held up well, but now maybe with things intensifying, the blood flow pumping a little bit more for Adriana Achinska. The padding isn't holding up. Ooh. I don't think Meyer was penalised for the high foot. I think it was more the offside. She says niemals, never. But then what striker ever looks to a linesman and says, yep, you got it right. Well, Kowalski talked herself into a booking. And that's been one of those frustrating evenings, but again, I made the point earlier, cool heads have to prevail in these situations. Essen cannot let the emotions get the better of them. Someone on the Essen bench has picked up a booking too. There you see Jessica Wiesmann talking to the 4th official, the former interim head coach, now working with Helene Jacques. Still think it might be one of those decisions they look back on with regret. Why did they have to bring in anyone else? Wiesmann had turned the corner. She'd added some stability, and yes, Jacques gave her credit, saying that she and her team will look to build on that stable foundation. But the upheaval for what is a 3rd time this season for Essen, probably avoidable. I'm surprised that Chinska's allowed to keep playing, to be honest, with the treatment looking a little raggedy. Same with that run out from Kupp. Picked off by Köln, and now Gerhardt. Lovely cut back inside Gerhardt to Achinska. Bloody nose and all. Battling away, Gerhardt. Off the thigh of Ostermeier. Bremer's there. Bremer still to Leimenstahl. They wait in the middle. Jessen attacks. Jessen gets there, but can't turn it on target. Well, I mean, to Essen's credit, Köln are having to work remarkably hard for any sight of goal. It's interesting because there's been a lot of talk about this very impressive season for Köln. And while they can get away with the defeat to Wolfsburg, you look at their recent results, they also lost to Karl Zeiss Jena on home soil on match day 13, and now they're being held to a 0-0 draw by Essen, at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion. So to only take a point from those 2 home games is disappointing against the teams that are, or have spent the majority of the season in the bottom 2. And on home soil, those are the games that you have to win if Köln want to aspire to be a team that can challenge for European qualification and the top 3. As Britta Karlsson rightly pointed out, this is a fan base that don't need a lot of an excuse to dream. And if they were to get a late winner here and move within 2 points of Hoffenheim, then it would be very hard to keep those dreams stifled. Fuchs with a good punch. Essen still looking for a chance, and then first push in the back, stopping them in their tracks. Five minutes of time added on at the end of the 90 here at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion. Are we going to get a winner? It would be dramatic no matter which way it goes. Köln would be the more deserving. Football doesn't work like that sometimes. Still they battle. For every inch of that football pitch, Cup has another little niggle, and she's going to get a booking, as so too does Vogt. No nonsense stuff from the referee, Caroline Wacker. Another break in play when neither team really wanted. Bremer does well. Jessen taking on Ostermeier again. They've got to be careful not to make a challenge there. The Essen defenders did well to stay tight without overcommitting. They need to find a way to actually get a shot at the end of all this pressure. And that has been perhaps the only issue for Köln in this second half. They've had a lot of pressure, but they haven't really turned it into much. Vogt with a long throw. Flicked on dangerously. Offside flag is up against Zawistowska. That's disappointing in the circumstances. That is not the last chance of this game, though. Now a booking for Zinderman for time wasting. Caroline Wacker's taking no prisoners, the referee, in the dying embers of this game. Chinska. She will battle to the bitter end. So too will Vogt. Chinska now. Foul goes Köln's way. Common FC, that's the nickname for Köln. FC Köln, FC. Floated in, not cleared. Bremer, edge of the box, felt she was fouled. Oh, it's not cleared. Zawistowska, swing and a miss. Story of her night. Story of Köln's night. That's shot number 21. Same number they racked up against Wolfsburg. They got a goal from a deflected cross against the She-Wolves. Tonight, in front of home support, they just have not found a way past Kim Zinderman. When they've got the shots on target, she has been equal to them. And truth be told, can't really remember one, with the exception of the effort that she clawed out. I want to say it was from a Nachinska free kick that bounced right in front of her gloves, was destined for the bottom corner. Incredible reflexes. Turning it behind for a corner. And that really was the best save of the game from either goalkeeper. Otherwise, it's been relatively routine stuff for the shot stoppers, which they won't complain about, will they? Essen had their backs against the wall in the Frauen-Bundesliga standings. Köln put their backs against the wall here at the Franz-Kremer-Stadion. But while it will feel like a missed opportunity for Köln, it's a huge point and the first of the Elaine Schack era for SGS Essen, because this is a point that, having dropped to the foot of the table with results elsewhere this weekend, that restores them out of the bottom two. The final score at the end of a very engaging 90 minutes, dominated by the home side, ends Köln 0, Essen 0. Elaine Schack will be very pleased about picking up the first point of her reign as Essen head coach after back-to-back defeats against newly promoted sides. Today is a little bit of an upset for the ladies in light blue, because Köln were certainly the favourites. Their head coach, Britta Carlson, talked about the ladies in red and white having to live up to that status as favourites. They didn't quite do that. They carved out all the chances, but just like against Wolfsburg, they were unable to find a finishing touch. As a result, it ends goalless. They failed to close the gap on Hoffenheim to 2 points, have to settle for 4 instead. It leaves them in 8th place. But not a bad point as they add to their record-breaking campaign. Just disappointed that they couldn't give their fans something to really cheer about tonight. A bunch of half chances, one big save made by Zinderman. Otherwise, it was not to be for Sandra Maria Jessen and co. It was a battling night. And while Köln aren't part of the relegation battle, this was a game that really took on all the qualities of a relegation six-pointer. And in the end, it ends 0-0 as Essen move back off the bottom of the table. Thanks for joining.